Hello and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Pick a Side podcast. I'm here with Andrew Velez. My name is Joel Moran, and it's been a while since we've done a two-man podcast. It's been a
Last time
long
we did
while.
a two-man podcast, Mr. Moran, it was the greatest night of my life.
Oh, what happened that night?
That's when the Lakers got Luka Doncic. Things have unfortunately changed since that moment in time for the Lakers. However, we're still up. We're still okay. Opening day was today. Shout out to the Yankees. 162-0 on the way. Unfortunately for your New York Mets and your new signing Juan Soto, unfortunately, you're not having the same pleasure for baseball as am I. But basketball, who knows? Maybe you're happy. Who knows?
I saw he got struck out. All the Yankees fans are celebrating. Well, we're glad we didn't sign him. This is your
They
problem now,
were
Mets fans.
coping. Oh, we were coping. I was coping.
Tonight, because we're recording this, it's near 1 a.m. Eastern time. Riv sleeping, Dell sleeping, John sleeping, Schoolboy. We're gonna record a podcast tomorrow. We're gonna be in the studio for that one. It's gonna be me, Drew, Riv, and John should be there as well. And then on Saturday, we're gonna record another episode, and we're gonna have a special guest. We're gonna have an NBA player on the podcast. He decided to join and hop on the podcast, and
Legend.
he found our podcast because of our Play the Right Way video. And it's basically just a concept of just white guys, just a starting five of white guys playing the right way. That's the joke. And he was one of the picks. So if you go and look at that video on TikTok, you can maybe guess who that player is.
Should be a good episode. Should be a good interview. I'm excited for it. It's definitely going to be funny to talk to him about that video.
I don't want to give it away, but I think maybe it doesn't matter at this point because we're gonna have him on anyway Saturday unless something happens like he cancels.
Mhm.
But I found out after that he's mixed.
I did find that out as well. So that's going to be obvious of who it is now.
Yeah, so I didn't know that he was mixed. I really thought he was just white, but I'm glad I didn't know because it would have disqualified him from the list.
And he would have never responded to the video. So you're cooking.
Yeah, how things happen. So, first of all, thank you to anybody that's watching this. I'm probably gonna drop this late night for the night shift workers out there. Got a lot of things to talk about. MLB, Cooper Flagg, Josh Giddey gaming the Lakers, Stephen A. Smith versus LeBron. I feel like that's what we got to touch on first. It's a big topic. I mean, it's huge. I'm surprised at how huge it is, not just for Stephen A. and LeBron and their back and forth. Their ratings are through the roof, but for other creators, like I dropped a video and I'm like, wow, I can't believe this is like this popping of a subject. What did you think about it? What did you think about the whole back and forth?
The first thing that comes to mind is embarrassing. I think the whole situation is truly embarrassing. I guess I understand why this whole thing is transpiring. I say that because, again, it's LeBron. It's going to get views. It's obviously going to be a story on First Take with Stephen A. But I just would love if Stephen A could just stop. Just you're making this really bad for yourself. And I have people in my comments, in my mentions saying, "Oh, it's Stephen A. He's got 100 million. He's good. How can it be bad for him?" Skip Bayless was on top of the sports media world at one point in time too. He made a living on criticizing and critiquing LeBron James's game, and we see where Skip Bayless is now. Stephen A. Smith is one of the faces of media. Absolutely, you can argue he is the face of sports media. But that does not disqualify him from potentially being removed from that top spot if people don't like the way that, one, he's acting, and two, what he's saying. What he did today on First Take was embarrassing and irresponsible. He talks about not wanting to make it personal, and then this entire 15-minute spiel that he went on to start the show was 100% personal. He tries to make it as if, oh, LeBron is so petty about not being the GOAT. This is why he does not like me, this, that, and the third. But really what LeBron has done is seclude you from his circle, not trying to talk to you at all. He approached you because you challenged him as a father. That's where it got personal. You bringing up Bronny in that fashion, you challenged him as a father. Any normal human being who is a father is going to feel some type of way. For whatever reason, he keeps dodging that, Stephen A. He's saying, I wasn't talking about Bronny, I was talking about you. And yes, you weren't talking about LeBron James, the basketball player. You were talking about LeBron James, the father. That is the mistake. That is the issue with what LeBron has when it comes to Stephen A. Smith and what it pertains to this go round. It's been embarrassing to see both the back and forth. I'll even say in LeBron's part, like, I wish that LeBron didn't go and make even the jokes on the Pat McAfee show. I get it. It was lighthearted. But obviously, there were strong jokes. Hey, you're going to be on your couch with a tub of ice cream and your tidy whities. Like LeBron was trying to make a joke and obviously make Stephen A. the butt of the joke. And obviously, he's got all the fans around him. We know that we're going to side with LeBron James because he's actually the one going out there and performing and being one of the best, if not the greatest basketball players we've ever seen, especially this late into his career. It's just sad for Stephen A. to go on to First Take, lie the way that he did, talking about the Kobe Bryant situation, the D Wade situation, about how he wasn't there for his unveiling of his statue when that was just a couple of weeks removed from Bronny James's heart condition and his heart defect that they had just found out, his heart surgery that he had to have. I just think that there was just such a lack of awareness with Stephen A. And I just wish that he would have dropped it. I think that Stephen A. obviously is such a polarizing figure in what we do, and obviously on a much larger scale. But it's just embarrassing for him, and it's embarrassing for the sport of basketball that that's the main topic of conversation. And when we should be talking about number one March Madness, when we should be talking about tonight's game of the Josh Giddey buzzer beater, we're here talking about Stephen A. and LeBron James, and I think that that's really the bummer of it all.
The story has changed so many different times. So at first, it was Stephen A. Smith was saying that his reasoning for LeBron being mad at him was that he was criticizing Bronny. So at first it was, he can get criticized. He's an NBA player. He's opening himself to criticism, so it's not a crime to criticize him. Then it's, oh, I wasn't criticizing him. I was criticizing you. Then now it's become, oh no, it's not even about the father stuff. It's about, you're just mad that I think you're the second best player of all time. So the story has switched 3 times already. He's lied multiple times. He said that he didn't want to make it personal. And then you mentioned it, the Dwayne Wade retirement stuff and the Kobe Bryant memorial service. And LA Times reported at the time that LeBron was in the building. And then he had to go on Twitter and retract his statement and kind of admit that he was wrong. And
Idiot.
he let out some misinformation, some highlights of this beef that were pretty hilarious. I'm actually floored at the fact that Stephen A. Smith is this upset about it. I can't blame him too much because he really believes LeBron had this entire thing planned where he rolled up on him, the camera
That
in the
killed
stands,
me, dude.
LeBron looking directly into the camera. Stephen A. Smith right now, and I think most people would feel this way if they were in the situation as well. If you feel like somebody planned to have like this huge surprise attack on you, and Stephen A. Smith being the personality that he is, I know so badly he wanted to respond in the moment, but in the time and the position of the game and how fast LeBron did it, I think it left him shell shocked. He didn't know how to respond. And all we're seeing now is just the aftermath of how he wanted to respond in the moment, but he wasn't able to because I think he was just so in shock that it happened.
I think and shame on me. I know I should have did my job and I should have listened to the Stephen A. Smith show on YouTube. But after I saw the clip of him saying, if he would have swung on me, I would have swung back. Just like, dude, please.
I watched the entire show and I watched the first take segment that he had. And as I'm watching it, because Jess spends all her time with me and we're just watching TV together, and I'm listening to this and I'm watching the show and I'm laughing most of the time. And I'm pausing and showing Jess certain stuff because Stephen A. Smith, I think he's wrong, but I think he is hilarious.
Hilarious.
An hour plus of content of talking about the LeBron situation when LeBron talked about it for maybe a minute at most.
I'm Max.
Stephen A. Smith found so many different ways to talk about the same thing, just in different ways. And Jess, today, when I was watching the first take segment, she asked me if I'm listening to the Stephen A. Smith show again. And I'm like, no, this is a different segment. And it's just funny how much alike everything sounds because he's rambling for so long. And the context behind it's a I'm swinging on him immediately comment is that he was mad that he didn't get a chance to respond and he feels like he was set up. And he basically said that, people maybe wanted this to be a reincarnation of the Chris Rock and Will Smith situation. That's what he said before he made that comment. And he said, well, I'll just will admit now, I don't stand a chance against LeBron. Like I would get
I
beat
did
up.
see him say that.
So his statement of I'm swinging on him immediately was basically saying he wouldn't have allowed to be treated like Chris Rock was. He would have responded had anything happened. But even the thought of thinking something's going to happen when you're at a Lakers game, LeBron's in the middle of the game. Like I just think it's just so out of reach to think that LeBron would even attempt to do that.
Pride is really at the forefront of a lot, sadly. It kills me. Like, I know I'm pretty prideful in my own right. You and I will have these back and forths. You and I will both refuse to be wrong, and we'll keep going back at it. There's got to be a moment of realization that Stephen A has to realize this isn't worth it. This is a battle I cannot win. I talk about the sport. I can't play. I'm not that athletic. LeBron posted a video of him boxing. Stephen A said that was or he had 2 torn rotator cuffs, and he knows that it's an embarrassing video. Stephen A's not athletic. We know this. All what he's amazing at, better than 99% of the population, is talking. That's all he can do. That's what he's doing right now on this world tour that he's gone on to address this beef. You can't do what LeBron does. LeBron's great at talking and he's great at basketball. People are always going to agree with LeBron. This is a losing battle. And then on top of it, you're making it look worse because you're saying a lot of nonsense and you're lying. I want for Stephen A. Smith so badly to admit this was a bad idea. I realize now what I did was wrong. What I've said was wrong. This has gone way farther than I thought. Because why are we here? Why
I
are we
don't think
here?
that's ever going to happen.
Oh my God, it's killing me, Joel. But last thing I'll say is this. Stephen A. Smith, again, he may be reaping the rewards of these hundreds of thousands of views that he got on the Stephen A. Smith show, the millions of people that tune into First Take. Is it worth it now to suffer tomorrow? That's kind of how you have to think of something like this. Like Skip Bayless was on top of the world in the moment, in the now. He felt on top of the world. Everybody cares about what I say. Everybody's tuning in because I'm so entertaining. And now here we are with Skip. Stephen, I don't want to see you go out like Skip. I really don't.
Your take on this is you think that it's hurting Stephen A. Smith and it will hurt him in the long run.
I think in the long run, a situation like this where you really start to lose the respect of the players, similarly how Skip Bayless had no respect of any players. The players had no respect for what Skip Bayless was saying. Stephen A. Smith, who is one of the faces, if not the face of medias when it comes to sports, you have and lose credibility when it comes to the players, that will be detrimental.
He's branching out into so many different directions. He had Ben Shapiro on his podcast. He's just branching out into like the political sphere and stuff. I actually think that LeBron engaging with him kind of made Stephen A more powerful because it kind of showcases that,
True.
LeBron's winning, of course, but that you were worth it enough for him to even engage with it. So I think this is actually beneficial for Stephen A in the long run.
I can hear where you're coming from.
But I do think that the problem right now is that he is at the forefront of just somebody that wants to be treated like the center of attention and the star. He is the face of ESPN, but it used to be a time where reporters were reporters and the players were the players. I think that's kind of shifted a little bit in Stephen A. Smith's case. And there are a lot of players that he has naturally more cachet than. Brian Windhorst, I like the way that he handled the situation. You didn't really see him get too mad about LeBron saying that, he's weird and that he's not his best friend. You didn't hear him make a big fuss about it at all. Kendrick Perkins was like doing most of the crying and
blocked his
complaining.
number.
Yeah. About he was bragging about blocking his number after, LeBron unfollowed him as if LeBron was ever even going to like text him or call him ever again. Probably not. I just feel like it's weird, and there's so many things that they could talk about on the show that I'm sure they do touch on. I think that a lot of people watch certain clips on Twitter and think that this is the only thing they're talking about. They definitely talk about a lot more on First Take, but it's nothing really in depth. And I think Stephen A. Smith, while he's gonna be even more popular now, I do think the credibility is kind of zapped, but people don't go to Stephen A. Smith to learn about basketball. They go
Nope.
to laugh. I went to his show to laugh. I knew he was going to be funny. And that's what he hits on. And he is so dead serious about everything and the theatrics of it all. Like, this is a battle between him and LeBron. And the fact that he has just switched the conversation into now it's like about the GOAT debate. Now it's about MJ versus LeBron, and they're just mad because he has LeBron as the second best all time. He switched it up so many times to the point that, he's just finding different ways to talk about the same thing.
Just lying. Why would you do that for yourself? You thought
Yeah.
he thought he did something today. When
Like,
he said, "Oh, if we wanted to make it personal, why we I don't talk about how you weren't at the Kobe's memorial service." He thought he was cooking.
yeah, like
He really thought he was making a lasting statement with that one.
he admitted that he didn't like LeBron. He admitted on his show. He said that he doesn't like LeBron because he's backstabbing, he's two-faced, and he knows that about LeBron, and that's why LeBron doesn't like him. And it's rich coming from him. The history with him and Max Kellerman, he got Max Kellerman kicked off the show. He went on the Joe Budden podcast and talked about how he didn't like working with Max Kellerman. And Max, I'm not gonna say he had the best takes or whatever, but he was the most likable of the two on the show. I thought most of the times he was more right on touchy subjects than Stephen A, and that might have rubbed Stephen A the wrong way. Like the Terrell Owens moment where Terrell Owens is telling Max that he's blacker than Stephen A because of the stance on Colin Kaepernick. Like,
Shouldn't
you
laugh,
know,
but it's
there's
funny.
yeah, but Stephen A, those things he took offense to, and I think he's the type of guy, like, you see how First Take is now. They don't have a co-host. It's a rotating cast of characters, and that's because Stephen A wants to be the star. But with Max there, he was sharing the spotlight with him, even though he was the bigger star. He was sharing the show with him, and because of that, now it's a rotating guest of people, and he feels like he has complete ownership. It's just a lot of fabrication from him and lies, and for him to call out LeBron on being a backstabber when Stephen A did that to Max Kellerman, for him to call LeBron a liar when Stephen A lied about the Kobe Bryant memorial service and LeBron not being there. And also just Stephen A. Smith lying throughout this entire thing, consistently changing why he feels like LeBron is mad at him for. There's just a lot of things that Stephen A is saying that he's just untrustworthy because he's not sticking to the same thing. Because if he was self aware, like we all have noticed, he's just clearly wrong in this right now.
He's just trying to find an angle that the population will gravitate towards. Because obviously Bronny at first, people were like, "Oh, it's true, nepotism. Bronny doesn't belong." But then Bronny starts killing in the G League. A couple weeks or last week, he goes out there and has his best career game. This is like the day after Stephen A. Smith was talking trash about Bronny in his game. So now we have to shift it back to LeBron James. Now it's not just about LeBron James, but it's also because of the GOAT debate. And he knows that people feel a type of way about the GOAT debate and they're super passionate that Michael Jordan's their GOAT. So if I can have this be my angle, I can get the population back on because a majority of people still believe that Michael Jordan is the GOAT. This is what I'm going to do. And even with that, even with saying that, where, hey, maybe this is the way that he's in. Because LeBron James is super petty. Oh my God, he's so hyper focused on being the greatest and being considered the greatest ever that he ostracizes people in the media, including me, the head of sports media, Stephen A. Smith. But then he ruined it by lying over and over again in the same segment. That's where he's losing me. And that's why I need Stephen A. Smith to quit while he's behind. And I say behind as someone who's watching him, and it seems as if he's embarrassing himself. He may be up numbers wise. To me, that does not solidify the means. It doesn't. It really does not.
Everything is getting dissected with LeBron. They were talking about the Mind the Game podcast, who Steve Nash is now co-hosting, and Kendrick was making a big deal out of why isn't it Richard Jefferson? Why isn't it Channing Frye? And I mean, it's Steve Nash. I mean, he's a Hall of Fame point guard. I think my prediction is that this is the beginning of
Yes,
LeBron James's post-retirement tour, where
100%.
I think when he gets into retirement, he's probably going to do media full time, and he's going to be uh, a voice, a consistent voice in media. He's not going to Kawhi Leonard it, where you're not going to hear him ever again, or Tim Duncan it. I think he's going to be a voice and a fixture in media. And Stephen A. Smith saying that once LeBron retires, he's basically irrelevant. That is just a dumb statement, because LeBron, no matter retired or not, he will always have a bigger and more impactful and powerful voice than Stephen A. Smith. There will never be a moment in time where Stephen A. has a more powerful voice than LeBron James. And I think LeBron is going to be kind of that police for the media landscape, especially these guys. I mean, I thought what was something that was super hypocritical is the fact that, Stephen A is super uptight and mad about the fact that he didn't get to a chance to respond to LeBron, that it was made public and it wasn't a private thing. When he said his comments and he made it theatrical and said, point the camera at me, I want LeBron to see this. And it was on camera and it was on TV. LeBron didn't get a chance to say anything. He didn't get a chance to rebuttal. That wasn't private. Stephen A. Smith didn't text LeBron privately and say this to him, something that was a little bit personal and crossing the line. He did it publicly. So I feel like LeBron is going to be kind of a fixture to kind of police what these guys say. And we've seen it from other players, like Kevin Durant has his own media company as well. I think he'll be a face in media. I think right now we're in an era where a lot of these NBA players are kind of trying to take back and control the narrative and try to put the Stephen A. Smiths that are super theatrical and take it a bit too personal down.
If you guys clicked onto this video, one, we appreciate it. But obviously, it would help us out a lot if you could hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn on notification bell so you know when we drop our episodes, when we drop any type of content on this page. It means a lot to us. Listen, pick a side, but pick the right one. The one thing that I think Stephen A. Smith said that might have been true was that this was a tactical move of going on to the Pat McAfee show, understanding that, yes, this is a show that does take place after First Take. This is probably the second biggest show on ESPN. It made sense. That's the one part where Steven might have been right there. LeBron did this on purpose. He went to the Pat McAfee show, who obviously is a huge, huge show in and of itself. Pat McAfee really, you put it out there and it was 100% true. He's winning. He has found a way to make players feel 100% welcome to share their thoughts unfiltered, but obviously in a way that, one, they feel confident, they feel protected in what they're saying, and they feel like they're being heard and they can actually say what they're saying and be heard for how it's meant to be heard. I think that that's why Pat McAfee thrives in the way that he does. I think that people that are trying to make it bigger as to, oh, LeBron's not supporting other black social media or sports figures, I think we got to get real. Look at his entire team. Look at who he's come up with. Like he obviously has done so much for the game. You want to talk about who has done a better job of representing the NBA? Of course, Michael Jordan made the game global. You'll never take that away from Jordan. But LeBron has done such an amazing job of not embarrassing himself and the league. He is the perfect representation of what you want your star, your franchise player to be, how charitable he is. He's such an amazing human being that it's mind-boggling to me that this is the route that a guy like Kendrick Perkins is taking. I see so many people, so many figures on social media trying to take that outlet. Please, why is this what you're trying to do? Steve Nash is one of the all-time greats. He's one of the best point guards to ever play the game. He is a two-time MVP. JJ Redick was in media. JJ Redick was one of the one of the few basketball social media or sports media figures that actually broke down the game, watched the game, dissected the game, got analytical with the game, and he decided to take JJ and make content with him. Steve Nash was a head coach, was a player, was one of the best point guards to ever play. It makes sense why he's at that table with LeBron James. I don't know why people try to make it bigger than what it is.
It's a
LeBron has done
no-brainer.
so much. He's done so much for everybody that you try to take something that's super minute and blow it up into something so much bigger.
It's a no-brainer. Steve Nash, if the option is between getting him or Richard Jefferson, bye. It's Steve Nash. It's Steve Nash. That's what it comes down to. And I don't think LeBron owes it to anybody to give handouts to certain podcasts or platforms. He was in Indianapolis. That's where
That's
Pat
true.
McAfee show is. He went there, mind the game, dropped that day. It was great promotion. And of the interview, 1% of it was like about Stephen A. Smith. Really, the entire time it wasn't even about him, it was about other things. And I just think that it was just the right decision for him, strategical or not. I mean, comes right on after First Take. He's giving Pat McAfee the time of day, and it kind of just solidifies Pat McAfee. There's so many athletes that go on his show because he makes it a comfortable environment for people. And dating back to 4 or 5 years ago, he would have everybody on the show back when he wasn't even this big. And that's because he can go into spaces and he's not trying to debate somebody or question somebody or try to cause any controversy. He's just trying to have a conversation. And that's why he's been so great at the WWE, college football game day. He's done so many different things. And it's why somebody like LeBron, who's so to himself, would go on his platform, and somebody like Aaron Rodgers feels comfortable saying whatever he wants to say, like he's just talking to a group of friends, because that's the environment that Pat McAfee makes the show. And people want to criticize Pat McAfee for how he does it, letting people slide with certain things they say. But when you have somebody on, it's about making it an open environment, not trying to challenge them and, make it a hostile environment. And regardless of whether you agree with Pat McAfee and his beliefs or not, he's making the show a warm, welcome place and kind of being fair to everybody. And even with LeBron, like he was joking with LeBron, he was throwing jabs at him, like, yeah, you
Facts.
wouldn't be physical enough to play in that era. Like, he knows all the things that are going on. He's very tapped into the conversation. But overall, Stephen A. Smith just looked very terrible in all this. And I think LeBron, his next step, my prediction is he's just going to be in the media more. And I feel like the NBA space needs it more than any other league. We saw what Adam Silver said today. And I feel like because that's for the most part just what it's turned into. It's just it's not about the games or the small markets or the stories that are going on. It's about other things that aren't about that. And it's mostly because I think when they have segments on First Take, they hyperbolize some things, like, Bronny James getting first quarter minutes. That doesn't need to be a viral moment, but it became one because Stephen A. Smith made it become one. But that in itself is a very meaningless, minute moment in the entirety of the season.
Yeah, I'm with you 1000%. What I have in my notes is what's my big takeaway from the Pat McAfee interview. LeBron James wants to change media. He wants to have it be a safer place that one we can still criticize because LeBron was very vocal on that as well. He's the most criticized athlete that ever was. That's just the truth. But he understands that that's someone's job. You have to criticize, but of course, there's times where you have to give the fair praise. The job is to analyze a player's game, whether it's the highs, whether it's the lows. That's fair. But there needs to be the happy medium of we're talking about the game. You can talk negatively, but talk about how you set the screen incorrectly, or you're coming off the screen incorrectly, or you're not doing a good enough job to space the floor, and this is why you're not doing a good enough job to space the floor. Your positioning. You can talk about the game of basketball and critique as opposed to making things agenda and everything just so much nonsense, so much fluff. That's not the game of basketball. I think that that's where LeBron James's head's at because again, he was the first star that came into a league that he really had to deal with social media, had to deal with being the overwhelming villain of a league while media was at its highest. And he knows better than anybody else how to deal with that. And he is going to, without a doubt in my mind, he is going to be a huge part of that. You said athletes like Kawhi and I'm blanking on the other guy that you think that is
Timmy
just
D.
There you go. Tim Duncan, that's just going to be quiet. You're not going to hear from ever again. Magic Johnson's one that comes to mind. Magic is still one of the four faces of the Mount Rushmore, and he's out there and he still talks. And this is, I feel like years ago, more so not recently, but when he was definitely a couple of years back when I was growing up, you heard him talking about the game, and he's obviously very vocal. He still has all his endeavors that he's tapped into business wise. He's trying to grow the game and otherwise too. And I think that LeBron, with how vocal he is, he's definitely going to have a hand in that as well.
And with that, we're going to take a quick break in the podcast, and then we'll be back with some Josh Giddey buzzer beater thoughts on the Lakers and Cooper Flagg's generational performance against Arizona. PrizePicks is the only place that we place our plays. You can use code PAS and you get $50 when you play $5. PrizePicks always has great promotions. They just had a Cooper Flagg free square. He just needed 1 point and you win. That's easy cash. He ended up with 30. Unfortunately, our picks for the Sweet 16 didn't go so well. Cooper Flagg, the free square, was the only thing that ended up working out for us. But that's why you guys can either follow us or you can make your own picks on PrizePicks. That's the only way that we play. If you want to support the podcast, use code PAS on PrizePicks. Download it, play $5, get $50. Before we get into the Cooper Flagg stuff, I want to talk about Josh Giddey. He gamed the Lakers in a game where, at first, maybe it was an overreaction. Maybe it wasn't. Lakers defense is looking suspect. They lost to the Bulls 119-117. They had a 91-75 lead to start the fourth quarter against the Bulls. And against the Pacers the other night, they had a 105-92 lead at some point, a 13-point lead. And both games ended on buzzer beaters. The Lakers on opposing sides on each of those games, one ended in a win, one ended in a loss. I mean, number one, let's talk about the Lakers, and then we can talk about Josh Giddey. The Lakers defense, highly questionable. And no, I don't trust this defense. I mean, I'm thinking about a scenario where they're facing the OKC Thunder. What is going to happen? What are you going to do?
You really know how to piss me off. That being said, you're not too wrong right now where we stand. The perimeter defense has been sus, especially in this fourth quarter. I thought we did an excellent job in the third. We only allowed 17 points. We came out at half. We were clicking on all cylinders. I loved our rotation. We were standing in front of the opposing players, and we were playing great defense. In the fourth quarter, they had an onslaught of threes, double-digit threes, if I'm not mistaken. They were not missing, and we could not knock down a three to save our life. I believe we only made 1 3 in the fourth quarter. We went cold. They didn't. Even with that, we were up 5 with 13 seconds left, 12.1 seconds to be specific, less than 13 seconds. So 12.1 seconds, up 5. We go down 1 point because LeBron turns the ball over. I thought LeBron was wildly out of it in those last few moments. Just seemed like he just had a lack of interest on both, well, mostly the defensive side, but it's crazy that we're here talking about a loss that was easily in the bag. We were up double digits clean in this game. We really were coasting to what seemed like an easy W. And then the Bulls just got hot and we got lazy on defense. I love Luka. He is an unbelievable offensive player. What they say about his defense, Joel, is true.
Why do I get the feeling you don't actually like Luka, but you're forced to like him because you're a Lakers fan and he's on the Lakers now?
No. I love Luka.
Love.
What he does on offense, there's nothing not to love. It's beautiful. The 3 ball has been there. In the month of March, he's been money.
I'm noticing a trend.
He's been locked. However, that defense, my God, Joel, you and me can go out there and we can put better effort out there. He's getting blown by every single time. And I get that that's kind of like the idea. You want to go ahead and push these guys so that we get the pass to the corner. And obviously we're going and taking our chances there. But the way that they're just able to get downhill and just get to that next level on him, it's really, really annoying. And it happens far too often, especially in late game situations. The game versus the Pacers, that was definitely the issue. We constantly watched Luka get burned on defense, and then it led to easy points in this game versus the Bulls, I'm not going to go out there and put all the blame on him. Obviously, we were going to win this game. I think a lot of this blame that I actually want to give out to is LeBron James. LeBron James throwing the ball away carelessly. Kobe White, I mean, what a guy. The dude just hoops. The dude knows how to ball. He's amazing. But then for you on the last shot, I get that it's a half court heave and you're not trying to foul, but can we have a little more intensity? Like, let's just not let him have a clean look. Like, I get it's from half. The chances of it going in already were like this much, but nevertheless, can I get a little bit more effort there, please? I just think that our effort really is terrible. We had moments of really being great tonight, and then in that fourth quarter, we just crumbled it up and threw it in the trash like paper toss.
Are you indirectly saying that Nico Harrison was right? Are you siding with Nico Harrison?
I don't know why you're trying to manipulate that into me saying that. No, no, I think that he just isn't good on defense. And I think Riv was trying to make that point on the last show that we have, and that he is one of the poster childs of this, that if you're a guard, your defense doesn't need to be elite. I'm not going to disagree with you, but it can't be non-existent in high leverage situations. That's where I fear sometimes Luka definitely does tend to lean to that side a little bit. It's just offensively, he is one of the greatest we've ever seen, especially this early into his career. You could argue he's the best we've ever seen. I hate watching us lose games the way that we lost tonight. And then against the Pacers, thank God we won. But that's another game where I don't feel great about. Like, I'm happy we won, but in reality, our defense collapsed. We had no great rotations, and our situations were laid down the games where we should be at our best. We've in back-to-back nights not been. And I get that we're on a back-to-back, but it's the Bulls. I know that we have to respect them because they've been playing some strong basketball, but we don't take our foot off the gas in the fourth quarter because they showed that they could go out there and put belt to ass already. We needed to take this one serious. And in a game that was extremely winnable, you lost. And I don't care the fashion that you lost. Nevertheless, a loss is a loss.
I say indirectly because the way you're feeling after 20 Luka games, Nico Harrison had to sit through 5 seasons worth of some defensive moments, and
They
you
were
know,
top 5 defense
it
twice.
sounds like it's driving you up a wall right now. I mean, Nico Harrison, maybe this is why he had your temper, and he just said, "You know what? I'm pulling the plug. It's year 5. It's not improving. I'm done."
Hey, he went to the finals. He went to 2 WCFs. He has a WCF MVP under his belt. He's great. He's amazing. He's elite. He's all-time great, you could argue already. I have no problem with Luka Doncic. All I'm saying is his defense is not good, and that's a known fact. That's a regular critique.
I feel
It takes away
like
nothing from my feelings for him. I think that he's an amazing basketball player.
I feel like LeBron is kind of entering some rust right now. In the month of March, he's shooting 23.7% from 3. It started against Boston, really. He was
Definitely did.
0 for 6 from 3. When he came back, he was 1 for 2 from 3 from his injury. And over the last 3 games, he is 0 for 3, 0 for 3, and 0 for 5. He hasn't been able to hit an outside shot. And when Luka is playing on the ball so much, you need them to shoot well. Austin Reeves against the Pacers played well, but he couldn't shoot either.
True.
He couldn't shoot it. He couldn't make a 3 at all. So I think the Lakers pick and choose when to play defense. I think Luka picks and chooses when to play defense. He picks his spots, but I think they're building up bad habits. And this has been a critique on Luka since Dallas. It's not that he can't play defense because he can. It's just he picks and chooses. JJ Redick, one of the first things that he said when Luka got traded to the Lakers was that he had a conversation with Luka and he asked him if he's okay with being coached hard. So we'll see just how hard JJ is coaching Luka and how on him he is about these defensive lapses because there's been a ton, but it's also been overall, I think, too. I think, there's moments with Luka that look bad, but I think overall the defense just really hasn't been that good. And the Vando lineups, I think, are killer with Luka especially when Vando's at center, because Vando can't really catch lobs like that. He can't space the floor, so he's not a threat as a shooter. It condenses the court, but he is like the best defensive option at the five, even if you're playing small ball five outside of Jackson Hayes. So you kind of have to have him out there. But the lineups with Luca and Vando are just really bad. And when you look at those same lineups with LeBron and him, those are good lineups. So I think the Lakers are going to run into just personnel issues once the playoffs get here. I don't think this is a totally complete team.
It's tough because I know Vando and what he can do on the defensive side. We all know he's probably our best perimeter defender. He's probably our best defender in totality. When you play with Luka Doncic and you are playing that small ball five, you have to be a great screen and roller. You have to be a guy that can pick and pop. You have to be one of those guys that is strong at setting screens. And that's one of the reasons why we see Jackson Hayes thrive in the way that he has as an offensive player with Luka Doncic, because he's such a great vertical threat. But when it comes to Vando, the two of them obviously just don't have that synchronization. But like you mentioned with LeBron, that's not always his style. Obviously, he's a little bit more isocentric, doesn't always need a screen, can obviously go downhill, attack the basket, drive and kick, and then Vando can do whatever he needs to, whether that is shoot a wide open three. But when it comes to Luka, again, it's a lot of screens. So I understand the issue when it comes to Vando and offense, of course, especially when Luka Doncic is on the court, because you need spacing around them. Because the way that Luka Doncic has been operating, especially in the pick and roll situations, is he's seeing Jackson Hayes. And if he's not seeing Jackson Hayes, a guy like Dorian Finney-Smith, who obviously I've been super thrilled with his play, that's the type of plays that he's trying to make. Make that quick, easy pass and try and get a great look at three. We know Vando's not the greatest at shooting. So it is unfortunate. I do think that we still have great basketball to come. It's a gauntlet. We're playing a lot of games in a very short period of time, which is why we're going to look back on a game like tonight and wish that we were able to close it out.
The other side of this game was Josh Giddey. Kobe White was exceptional.
It was.
Kevin Herter has fit brilliantly in this 3-point shooting system that the Bulls have right now. They're just totally run and gun. Giddey had 25, 14, and 11. Over his last 17 games, which has been since Levine has been traded, he's averaging 21, 9, and 8 on 64% true shooting. The 3-point shot right now is falling for him at an unsustainable rate. I think that is something that we can point out and is fair. I think Josh Giddey right now has proven that he got the short end of the stick. I think that he was treated unfairly when he got traded by OKC. He didn't fit with OKC in his third season. You look at the 3 seasons he had in OKC. First one, he won multiple Rookie of the Months. He was in the Rookie of the Year race, but he got hurt. Promising rookie season. Second season, he averaged 17, 8, and 6. He played really well. The ball was in his hands. It was a rookie J-Dub. Chet wasn't there just yet. Or maybe it might have been flipped the other way around. All I know is that I know Chet didn't
You
play
got it.
in the
Rookie
second year.
J-Dub and then an injured
Yes, and an
Chet.
injured Chet. He had more opportunities on the ball, and OKC wasn't trash. They made the play-in, and you can argue, was like the second or third best player on that team. SGA, obviously, at that time, still first team All-NBA player. He really broke out that year. And then last season, J-Dub takes a leap in the second season. Chet is healthy. SGA gets even better. Josh Giddey's natural position is point guard. He's always been a point guard, somebody that you want to make decisions with the ball because he has exceptional passing ability. But he's not no more because of these other players, and they've ascended. He has to be a spot-up shooter, and he couldn't shoot. Shot 32% from 3. So teams would leave him open, and he was a black hole for them on offense. And you look at the identity that they've built now, they want the Carusos, the Dorts, the J-Dubs of the world that can defend and go all over the place. And that's not Josh Giddey. He's serviceable, but he's not going to do all that stuff. He's not a high-end defender. But now we're seeing in Chicago, he's playing really well. And that's because he has more on-ball opportunities, especially since the Zach LaVine trade. And I think the Bulls have something. I think this play-in appearance that they're having right now is different than other years. Other years, it was led by old vets and players that have kind of reached their ceiling. I think Giddey's only 22 years old. He's getting better. He's shooting a career high 38% from 3. And I don't think he got enough slack. You know, he's not only the on the court stuff, but before the season, the whole scandal with him and the underage girl happened. So, and who knows what happened behind that? All I know is that he wasn't found guilty and there was no legal action against him. But you gotta probably understand how much of a toll that takes when every arena you're going to, they're heckling you and that's what they're doing to you. How that affects you mentally, how that affects your game. And I think the situation with the Bulls going to a brand new city and now kind of being embraced by Bulls fans because he's playing really well. Like this is something for him where he needed a new environment just to get his head on straight. And we see him playing the best basketball of his career in this stretch.
As a Laker fan, it killed me watching him hit that buzzer beater from half court. As a fan of the game, that shot was sick. It was amazing.
And people
Oh,
believe you that Riv is a Bulls fan again.
yeah, I got him. Um, Over LeBron James too. I mean, Giddy's gonna remember this for the rest of his life. Just an amazing moment for him. And I'm with you, Joel. I think that everything you said was spot on. I think it didn't work in OKC. I think that, yes, partly to blame was obviously his skill set, but also at the same time, there's just a way that he thrives. And that's when he has the basketball in his hands. In an offense where you're maybe the fourth most talented offensive player, respecting J Dub, respecting Chet Holmgren, and of course SGA, who's going to go on to win his MVP this season. Last year, first team All NBA, going to be a third consecutive first team All NBA player. You had to know that either you were going to fit around SGA or you were going to be moved on from. Now, I'm not going to be the guy that says the notion Chicago won the trade. I'm going to be the guy that says Chicago won the trade and OKC won the trade. OKC is amazing. They're one of the best defenses we've ever seen in our lives. Alex Caruso is a huge part of that. And as the season's progressed, his three-point shot has started to find itself. Now, Josh Giddey, I'm happy for him that he's out here and he's 100% hooping. He's showing that he is a great point guard, that he has these traits as to why OKC once had the vision that he could be their lead guard, but understanding that situations matter. And in this situation with Chicago, around other shooters, and obviously he can get the ball to these guys and make passes that not other guards can. He's smarter than everybody. He's not the most athletic, but he's out here and he's being technical and breaking down these defenses. On top of it, he's knocking down the three ball that he couldn't do in OKC. So it's just a lot of things that you have to be mindful of and acknowledge when talking about Gideon, why things didn't work out in OKC, why they are working now with Chicago, because multiple things can be true. At the time with OKC, he was not their best offensive player. He could not shoot the ball and could fit to their scheme and what they wanted to do. Yes, it made sense for them to move on. Yes, Josh Giddey is playing great basketball right now. I like where things are trending for the Chicago Bulls. I like the way the game that they adapted. They are one of the most three-point shooting teams in the league. And in nights like tonight, when you have him, of course, Herter and Kobe White shooting the ball the way that they are, you're going to be in a lot of games, especially in late game situations. So you have to give credit where credit is due. Josh Giddey's done an excellent job of that. But again, let's not go all in. It is the Bulls. They are winning games. But again, this isn't a team, especially when I look at their front court, when I look at their wings, that they still have their ways to go, and I'm sure people are aware of that. They're playing fun basketball right now. This is something that we can use to carry over into next season as to fill in the pieces as to what this team needs. But I think that still they're missing the plot. This is not supposed to be a good team. You're kind of winning too much. Relax. You're not going to get Cooper Flagg, Dylan Harper at this rate.
So
And
you're not believing in Giddy?
again, I'm not trying to be my franchise player, to be the best player on my team for years to
Maybe not
come.
franchise player. Can he be your franchise point guard? Can he be your lead guard for the next 5 years? I think the answer is yes.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it. If you surround him with other three-point shooters, if you fill out the defense, especially talking about the wings, if you can get some depth in the front court, yeah, I think it's possible. He has that skill set so long as he continues being an efficient three-point shooter. Now, I'm not saying to shoot at this clip that he shot as of late. You said it yourself, it's unsustainable. You shoot 36%, but you're still one of the smartest players on the basketball court at any given time. You still can go downhill and attack the basket. You can still be effective of getting rebounds. You can still be a positive on the defensive side. Yeah, you can be a lead guard. I believe that.
This feels different to me. This means something to me.
Does
It
it?
it was hard for Giddey fans to be vocal a year ago. You
Let me
couldn't do
ask you
it.
a question. Were you not one of the people that said the Bulls got fleeced?
No, I said OKC was they stole them.
So fleecing and stealing aren't
No,
synonyms,
no,
Mr.
it's not the same because the difference is that OKC traded a player that wasn't in the playoff rotation for a player who's going to play in the playoff rotation.
True.
The Bulls, we can find the footage. I was pretty happy for Giddey, and I thought he wasn't as
Were you?
bad. Yeah, I'll go find the footage
Maybe my
tonight,
memory
maybe.
is altered. I
And
don't know.
I might have a tweet, but I don't take into account too much tweets. I like to hear what I say back on the show, and
I agree.
I didn't give up on Giddey just yet. And a year ago, you couldn't be vocal about Giddey because
Damn
he was
right.
bad, but also there was some off the court stuff that
Allegations, no doubt.
you had to keep quiet on that. So I when the trade happened, asked on Twitter, where does this guard duo rank? And a lot of jokes said they're like dead last and stuff. And I was doing it right now, before the show started. I think
Okay.
there are 9 in the East that are clearly better.
Okay. Guard
Mitch,
duos.
yes, Mitchell and Garland, White and Drew, Brunson and Mikal, Tyrese Nemhard, Cade Ivy, Dame and Torian Prince. It doesn't really matter. Trey and Dyson Daniels, LaMelo and Brandon Miller, and Maxey and Grimes or McCain, either one of the two. In the West, I had 14. Almost every team in the West outside of the Jazz. SGA and Dort. SGA is carrying. Ahmed and Jalen Green. Jamal Murray and Christian Brown. Luca and Reeves. John Morant and Bain. Harden and Powell. Steph and Moody. Conley and Anthony Edwards. Kyrie and Clay. Mavericks when healthy. And this is where I think it gets a little bit dicey. I had 14. I had these other ones in there, but they weren't easy picks.
Okay.
Malik Monk and Zach LaVine.
I would still take the Kings.
Okay. Tyus Jones and Devin Booker.
Oh, Devin Booker is carrying.
He is doing heavy lifting.
I would take the Suns out of respect for Devin.
Anthony Simons and Tumani Kamara.
Ah. I like the Blazers.
I like it too. I put them in over them.
Okay.
De'Aaron Fox and Stephon Castle.
Oh, come on.
DeJounte Murray and Trey Murphy or Herb Jones.
You know my opinion.
So this makes Giddey and White the 24th ranked guard duo. This is where I had them over. I had them over Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson. Did you hear me?
The only thing I heard was so. Last thing I heard was so.
I had them over Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson.
I'm fine with that.
I had them over Jalen Suggs and KCP.
Fine with that.
Isaiah Collier and Colin Sexton.
Obviously.
D'Lo and Cam Thomas.
I'm fine with it.
Jordan Poole and Bub Carrington.
You hear?
Yes.
All right, here we go. D'Lo and Cam Thomas.
Jordan Poole and Bub Carrington.
This year's Jordan Poole is kind of a bucket. Oh, man. I mean, the way that Giddey and Kobe White have been playing, you have to lean them.
I saved the best for last. Emmanuel Quickly and RJ Barrett.
You knew that this was going to be a thorn in my side. Still taking Quickly and RJ. I'm sorry.
I get it. I don't know how long they're going to be together, though.
I don't know either. But how much longer is Giddey and Kobe White going to be together?
Oh, this is the franchise backcourt.
This is the future?
This is the future. I'm in on the Bulls.
You think Riv would go back to the Bulls if he knew that his future guard duo was Kobe White and Josh Giddey?
They need one more promising prospect. They have Mataz Buzelis, Kobe White, Giddey. They get one more. Let's say they draft Derek Queen. I'm a big fan of him.
Okay.
Yeah, I like it. I'm
I think
in.
Molly Watch makes a lot of sense for a team like the Bulls.
Yeah, he's also a big body. Yeah, I like it too. That's where I'm at with it. I think I'm buying on the Bulls' future. I
I
like it.
You still had a lot of guys in front of them, so I'm not pushing back at all. Like at all. You need to acknowledge Kobe White in the 2025 year has been a dog. He's
Yeah.
been amazing. Josh Giddey just realized that he can shoot the basketball now. Like that's really been the major difference in his game. He can space the floor and do it at a high level, which he's never shown to do, which is why there's maybe a little bit of hesitancy in my heart because I don't know if this is sustainable. But with everything else that he does on the offensive side, I can be a little bit more open to this idea that this can be the future for the Chicago Bulls.
And maybe the NBA rigs the lottery for them so they get the first overall pick.
Dude, what did you think about LeBron saying that? I thought he was a clown for that. Not a
I
clown like people are going to say, "Oh, you're an actual clown." Like he's hilarious for even saying it out loud.
I think it's the best kept secret, or I should say, I think it's the
The
worst
worst,
kept
yeah.
secret in the NBA. I think everybody knows the NBA lottery is rigged. I don't think it's rigged every year. Just when there's something at stake and the politics align with it, like LeBron going to Cleveland and from Ohio, from Akron, Derrick Rose being from Chicago, Wemby getting drafted to a lineage of historic big men. The Pelicans, oh, they land the number one overall pick after they traded Anthony Davis. Oh, how coincidental. I think there are years where it is pretty set in stone, it's blatant that they rig it when it makes sense. I just think there's too many coincidences that have happened to think otherwise.
They also don't mention as much when it comes to Wemby, Tony Parker and him being the French ambassador for the basketball. And now, of course, who's going to be now the face of French basketball for 2 decades almost, God willing, he stays healthy. It's going to be Wemby. That's something that they don't talk about either. There's a lot of reasons why that ball landed the way that it did. I'm sure Spurs fans are not mad and they're not going to question it whatsoever. But it is a little questionable. But if that's the case, Mr. Moran, hold on to your Maverick stock because who knows?
That might be the next move. That's something I've been thinking of. Maybe the conspiracy is going to align with them. Cooper Flag and Sweet 16. Half of the games been played already. Alabama beat BYU 113-88. They scored
Unbelievable, by the way.
113 points. They made
Goodness.
25 threes, 49% from three. Mark Sears 34 and 8, 10 threes made. Unbelievable shooting performance. Maryland lost to Florida 87-71. Derek Queen played really well though, 27 and 5. Texas Tech versus Arkansas.
Game of the night.
Texas Tech, second largest comeback in tournament history. They beat Arkansas 85 to 83. But the performance of the night was had by Cooper Flagg.
No
Duke beat
doubt.
Arizona 193. I want to give a huge shout out to Caleb Love. I think that he went out on his sword. He played really well. Cooper Flagg, 30 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists, 1 steal, 3 blocks. He made 3 threes. I watched Cooper Flagg in on offense, the way that he controlled the game, dictated the pace. Feel like he's so good once he gets into the paint. Those touch passes around the rim, those lob passes, he's so good. When he notices defenses, when a defender tags a roller, just throwing it to the corner. I feel like Cooper Flagg is already so ahead of players his age thinking the game. He thinks the game. He's a couple steps ahead. They interviewed him after the game and they asked him, how does he do some of the stuff that he does? And he just said it's natural. It's just a feel that he has for it. And I think that's what makes him special. And not only on offense is he playing at an extraordinary level where he's taken over the game, but defensively, he took over this
He's
game.
incredible.
His help side defense, I think, was just so phenomenal. The rim protection he offered, the help when his teammates got beat on drives and being a body down low. Cooper Flagg just has tremendous feel for the game, and whoever gets the first overall pick is going to be lucky because he is a, a star, and he just turned 18 3 months ago. He was playing at 17 years old for most of this college basketball season. I think that's crazy. He still has so much more to improve and so much more to go. He's so talented, and the potential for him is through the roof.
Yeah, and the skill set, just the amount of moves that he can go to. The one shot that he hit was that absolutely ridiculous, falling away, leaning off one foot, nothing but bottom. The shot right before half, his touch around the rim, finishing with the left hand too. He just has all that in his bag. And it's crazy because his offensive game's great, but I feel like he's even better on the defensive side. It's ridiculous how amazing of a basketball player he's shown to be. I don't know, some part of his game tonight, I felt like I was watching, talking offensively, a little bit of Brandon Ingram. I feel like Brandon Ingram doesn't get enough acknowledgement as the playmaker that he is, and obviously he's very smart in that regard too. But just the way that he can manipulate in the mid range as well. I think the sky's the limit for this kid. I mean, obviously he's shown it in the biggest stage too, in the Sweet 16, to have your best performance or one of the best performances that you've had this season. I mean, this dude is special. He is obviously going to be the number one overall pick. I hope he goes to a fun team, but when you have a guy that has as much to his game as he does, it's obviously hard to not want him to go to a situation that's going to set him up for success and not look at a team like Utah, unfortunately.
I have my number one destination for Cooper Flagg. It's the team I really want him to go to.
All right, let me guess. And it's not the Mavericks.
No,
Wow, okay, that's shocking. All right, I will say Portland Trailblazers,
that would be fun, but no,
the Suns.
no, it's
All right.
impossible.
All right, go ahead.
It's the Washington Wizards.
Okay, I like that too.
I
You're
think
cooking.
right now that's my favorite rebuild in the NBA. I think they got a lot of young talent. They got the vets. Just think about a lineup of next year. Like they can be competitive very early. I think you have Jordan Poole starting,
Mhm.
Sar at center, Cooper Flagg at the four, Chris Middleton at small forward. Does Marcus Smart start at the two?
You're not a Bilal Coulibaly guy?
Oh, I forgot about Bilal
Mhm,
Coulibaly.
mhm.
Absolutely. So Chris Middleton started at the two, Bilal Coulibaly at the three, Cooper Flag at the four, Sar at the five, Smart off the bench with Bub Carrington.
Keyshawn
Then
off the bench too?
yeah, AJ Johnson. I think he's shown
Facts.
some flashes. So I think the Wizards have something brewing right now. And I think they're gonna be one of the better young teams for the next couple of years. I think right now, this season has kind of just been a season where you're just kind of seeing some flashes, but they're going to take a big jump. And Alex Sarr has already taken a big jump in this game this year, and he's really improved. So you add somebody like Cooper Flag, I think that's the perfect pairing because Sarr could shoot, Poole could shoot, Middleton could shoot. He's going to have spacing. He's going to make a difference on defense. I just think that the Wizards, to me, would be the most fun team of them all, and they desperately need that franchise changing star.
I hear where you're coming from when it comes to the Wizards. If he goes to the Blazers, who already are pretty sound on the defensive side of the ball, and then you add his defensive too, to a team that also could use a boost on offense that obviously Cooper Flagg is going to provide for you. It's going to make the game so much easier for a guy like Scoot Henderson, a guy like Shaden Sharp, and then Tumani Kamara, who obviously has started to really ascend this season. That's where I look at the Portland Trailblazers and think they have an identity already. They've shown more flashes than the Wizards, although I agree with you, the Wizards do have some fun young players, except the Blazers have translated that to wins and very quietly making a push for that last play-in.
The West is so talented and is so stacked. I think you need to stack the East a little bit.
I get that. I'm cool with that, which
If
is
he
why
goes to the
bring
Blazers, it's a lot of talent on the team. It's also so many teams you're competing with that are also young.
Yeah, I don't disagree there. I think that selfishly, I want the Spurs also to potentially get Flag.
Oh, you just want to stack the deck for Wemby, huh?
Yeah, I do. I really do. And I think Cooper and Wemby actually would be arguably a top 7 duo in year 1.
I was looking at the last 14 first overall picks, trying to find out how many of them are better than Cooper Flag.
Okay.
Wemby,
Yep.
Paulo, Cade, Ant, Zion, we're at 5.
Yep.
AD, Kyrie, and John Wall. I'm at 8.
We're locking John Wall.
John Wall is so disrespected.
I say this with love. He's cool as
All
hell.
NBA defender, double
Was
double in his prime, 21 and 11.
wasn't a great shooter.
Hey, Cooper Flagg isn't a great shooter.
I think he's better than John Wall.
These are the first overall picks that I think he's over. I think
Shoot
he's
him,
over
Wes.
DeAndre Ayton. I think he's over Reese Shea. I think he's over Fultz, Ben Simmons. I think he's over Wiggins and Bennett. I think he's over Cat.
Okay.
And then, if you want to debate John Wall, you could debate John Wall.
See, you say over John Wall, but you say not over John Wall, but then you say over Cat. Like, please?
I just think John Wall at his best, I think is better than Cat.
Karl Anthony Towns is the reason why they moved on to the WCF. You cannot forget that. I'm begging you.
Oh my
I'm
goodness.
begging you.
This is the one game sample guy, man.
Sorry, game 7, chips on the table. He was all in and he carried.
I think Cooper Flagg is in that group though, in the upper echelon. I think he's more so like he falls like in the Zion Ant range. I think Ant more so as a prospect. I think as a prospect, he was better than Ant. And we're just talking about prospects. I think as a prospect,
It's him, Zion, Wemby. Let's take Wemby out of this. Him, Zion,
AD.
No doubt.
Yeah. And then
John Wall. You low-key could throw John Wall in there.
Yeah, as a prospect, John Wall was ridiculous. Cade was really good, but I don't think he got like the same type of hype that Cooper Flagg is getting now, just because Cooper Flagg's so young. But that's the conversation that Cooper Flagg is in. Like, I think he's that good, and he was that good tonight. I think Duke has a real chance of winning it all because they're playing well. And Kaman, Maluach, he's in the right place. I feel like he's figuring the game out. It's kind of slowing down for him. It's a little bit too fast early in the season. Last thing we'll touch on.
What about Conca-Nipple? Are you a Conca-Nipple kind of guy?
He's a connector. He's one of those guys that it's tough to be like, okay, is he going to succeed in it? Is he going to be a Corey Kispert? Is he going to be like somebody valuable?
Okay. Hey, every team could use a Corey Kispert.
Yeah, maybe. It's possible. Nobody's traded for him yet.
That's true. That's a good. I think it's a little too pricey that the Wizards are trying to move him for a bag.
Now, MLB takeaways. Was there anything that stuck out to you with opening day?
All right, I'll really highlight the Yankees and the Mets. I'm going to be consistent. If we ever discuss baseball on the podcast, I'm going to be consistent, Yankees and Mets, unless something else catches my eye. For example, Mackenzie Gore, 13 strikeouts and 6 innings scoreless. His team loses the game. Shout out to him. He was the player of the day. Amazing outing from him. The Yankees are going to be a gritty team, and we showed that on game 1. But I'm happy we won. I'm even happier the Mets lost and the way that they did. Dells, hold that. Juan Soto to strike out against the team that last year he immediately set tone, hit the go-ahead single against, Josh Hader, the same guy who struck him out today to end the game. It's levels. It's the Bronx. It's Queens. Like, you just have to know that the vibe is different with the Bronx as opposed to those people in Queens. And there'll be a point where he realizes, I made a mistake. I should have stayed a New York Yankee. But it's game 1. There's a long season to go. We got 161 more games. All I know is the Mets can't be 162-0 the way that the Yankees can. It's going to be a fun season. I'm excited for our pitching. I really think that our pitching is going to be great this year, especially our bullpen. Shout out to Devin Williams, got his first save as a Yankee. It was ugly at first. Wasn't the prettiest. He was going up against his old team, so I understand why there was maybe a little bit of jitters, a little bit of anxiety, but he was able to bear down. He was able to get the job done. Our bullpen's going to be fantastic. It's going to be a reason why we win so many games. But Carlos Rodon, if he pitches the way that he did today for the rest of the season, we are really going to be thrilled as Yankee fans. And it won't press the issue, which I think we are going to, regardless, to be pressed to go out there at the trade deadline and go and trade for a starting pitcher. I think that that's going to be essential for us down the road. But if we have a guy like Rodon, it's going to make giving up more to go get a top-notch pitcher not that much of a possibility.
You saying they're going to be a gritty team makes me kind of think they're like a 41-41 NBA team in terms of like the MLB.
No. I say that where last year you had a team like the Guardians, and the Guardians weren't this great hitting team. They weren't this great starting pitching team, but their bullpen was goated. It was one of the best, if not arguably the best in baseball. They won the division. They were the second best team in the AL. They went to the ALCS and played against the Yankees. No, yeah, they went to the ALCS and played against the Yankees. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have the most well-rounded team to go deep into the playoffs. I think our hitting is going to be questionable. We have Aaron Judge, end of the day. We still have the best hitter in baseball. So we'll have moments where we can go out there and he really carries us. That's going to happen. It happened last year. But we also have guys around the edges. Like I think that Cody Bellinger is going to be good for us, even though he struggled today. I think that Austin Wells is due for a breakout season this year and year two in a full year. I still believe in Dominguez, even though he didn't have that great of a year. But Paul Goldschmidt and Jazz Chisholm, these are professional hitters. This is what they do. I think that we usually come out the gate slow, but we're going to be heavily reliant on our pitching, no doubt about it. I really believe that.
And that's going to do it for this episode of the Pick a Side Podcast, episode 472. If you made it this far, make sure you guys drop a like. Let's get to 500 likes on this episode. Subscribe to the channel, share this, comment for the algorithm. We really appreciate it. Just know that this wouldn't be possible without you guys. And we're always appreciative of you guys' love and support. Thank you guys for watching. We'll be back tomorrow with a brand new episode. And then Saturday, I'm going to have the NBA player. If you guys want to guess it in the comments, you guys can. But that's going to do it for us. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.